Okay, getting ready to do a jacuzzi tub swap here. You can see that this tub was very old classic jacuzzi, and some things we had to do that shouldn't have to do. We had to cut the plumbing out of the jacuzzi tub, which it still worked, but it shouldn't be necessary because these are made to just drop in, and all you have to do is connect the water supply and the drain. And then this one had the faucet here, so the plumbing went over and up, and it had the mixer for the hot and cold. Very old style of doing things, but none of that should have had to be done. It was just put in a weird way. And so this is the old tub. We got it out. Now we're gonna go swap it. Okay, when you're replacing the jacuzzi tub, just remember to always shut off the power. And later on, you're going to notice that I'm not putting in a GFI outlet underneath for the tub to plug into. It's not needed because it's got a ground fault breaker. So it automatically works at the breaker panel. So you don't need to do it twice. You just make sure that's shut off before you do it, and then turn it back on with making sure your motor's not running when you flip it back on, and it should be good. So this is the new tub we're replacing it with. And as you can see, everything's centered, your overflow, your drain, and the faucet's going to be mounted in the center, which on the old one it was over here on the corner. So this is going to be a lot easier to hook up. And as you can see, just like the old one, as I was saying, is it's just made to just drop right in. And then here's the hole for the old one. And just a quick analysis of everything. We had to do a lot of cleaning to get it ready. It was terrible under here, so the installer back in the 70s, 80s, whenever that was, did a really messy job. And this is the water supply. You can see it comes out of the floor here, goes over. And remember on the old one it had a kind of a mixing unit. Don't need that anymore. So basically what I did was just cut the copper and did the shark bite valves. And then there's an access over here, it goes into a closet. So if we ever need to shut it off, we don't have to shut the water off the whole house, you just shut it off here. And so the supply lines, you see I had to buy an extension just to make sure we had plenty to go over here, the center where the valves are. So that's pretty straightforward. And then here is, you can see they grounded it to the copper pipe, which is very common. So I got ground wire for the motor. And then here's the electrical supply, which is just 12 gauge wire. So I got to put an outlet in here. And then here's the kind of the challenge. This ABS plastic drain, as you know, you have to use a special glue to convert it over to Schedule 40 PVC. And so what I did was I bought a boot. And so I'm going to cut it off back here and just connect it with this. And then I've got, see, everything is glued, so I can't reposition anything. It was really weird on the old one. The overflow was over to the side. It wasn't directly in the center. And the new one, you can see it right there, it's directly in the center. So this has to be moved, so we can't use this. And so I've got to take it off. And so I bought a new tub kit and a new P-trap, and with another little piece of pipe here to for whatever extra links we need. And so I'm going to cut it off back here, and then use the boot and go from there and line it up in the center. So I know it's exactly in the center, so I'm going to measure, find the exact center here, make sure it's close, and then it should line up fairly simply. So get to work. Okay, so I got everything set up now. See my rubber boot back here. It's really hard to measure, so I'm not really sure where this is going to line up. If I need more length, I've got about 1 inch in the rubber boot. If I need more of that, then I've got to cut it and put a splice in, which I hope the heck I don't have to do that. But if I do, it's a common thing, not difficult to do, just a little extra step. So I got the new tub drain kit put in, And I had already showed you the water supply lines, which will run back here and go up to the faucet. And I got the outlet put in because the new tub has an actual 3-prong plug on it. The old one was direct wire. And then I got my ground, of course, to need to be attached. And then over here, I got the faucet system started. And this was a Hansgrohe, and I think that's how you pronounce it. Very expensive faucet set, and it's a beautiful set, really nice. But we realized once we got it that it did not come with what they call a rough-in connector set, which the valve set, we had to buy this separately. Of course, I had to drill the holes, spaced 5 inches apart. Each thing's 5 inches apart. And so here's for the handheld. And then the water supply lines will just connect right there, very simply and easily. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll this out inside the tub so it doesn't pinch or bind on me as I'm getting that in. So now we'll set it in, and I'm gonna prop it up on this side so I can reach in and connect all the tubes. And it should be pretty straightforward. So as you can see here, I've got it propped up. I just used a long pry bar that I've got to kind of prop it up. You just want to make sure you don't rest anything on these hoses because they could break really easy. And so got the ground wire in here. They had a clamp to put that in. And then got the supply lines hooked up, and let's just hope I got the hot and cold correctly. If I don't, I can use my access panel and go in and just switch these valves out and switch them at the valves, I mean. And so that should make it easy. The challenge is going to be if this doesn't line up, and it's got to be more over here in this section. And so once I'll go down inside with the pump and go this way with it, to align it, to center it in the opening. And then let's just hope that the overflow and the drain line up good. Well, I ran into a little snag, which I somewhat anticipated. Remember on the old tub, the faucet was over here. And so they got this little cutout here for the plumbing to come up. And so this plywood here is gonna be in the way. And so no biggie, I'm just gonna have to cut it about right here and just cut it all out, and then it should slide right in. You have opening for the plumbing right up against the tile here. So a little snag, but we'll get that cut out and then it should set in. Okay, I got it installed, and I had to fill it up with water. You always fill it up above the jets before you turn it on. And it was quite a challenge getting these installed. We had a seal missing, so I used plumber's putty to seal it, because the water was just coming out underneath. And when it's missing those O-rings, it makes all the difference in the world. So, works great. A little button here for the handheld. It filled up, power's on. Works great. And so the customer decided, since we got a little bit of a gap here, to go ahead and fill it with the grout. We got the same color grout. So I'm going to mix up some grout and fill the big gaps. And then I'm going to use the grout color in the caulk, which is also a sealant, and go around the whole edge after I get the sides filled. But this here, we just pulled it clear up to the front, to the edge. And there's a little bit of a gap in the back, which won't show. But that's what the customer decided to do. The only other thing we could have done was get some of this tile and put it up and where this would rest on top of the tile instead of being down inside. But the customer wanted it down inside, so that's the way we're gonna do it. So now I'm ready to do the grout. You always want to test everything before you do any finish work, because if you got to pull it up, oh my, what a mess you have to make and doing everything over again. And so, and I checked underneath in the, you might remember we had an access panel for the plumbing over here, And there's also one in this closet over here on each side. So I shined a light after it ran for a while to make sure there was no leaks. Everything looks great, so we're off and running.